It will be quick, I said. Man and boy, I've slit 90 hogs' throats, and I thought it would be. But I was wrong. Let it be told quickly. On the nights when I can't sleep, and there are many, it plays over and over again, every thrash and cough and drop of blood in exquisite slowness, so let it be told quickly. We went into the bedroom, me in the lead with the butcher knife in my hand, my son with the burlap sack. We went on tiptoe, but we could have come in clashing cymbals without waking her up. I motioned Henry to stand to my right, by her head. Now we could hear the Big Ben alarm clock ticking on her nightstand as well as her snores, and a curious thought came to me: we were like physicians attending the deathbed of an important patient. But I think physicians at deathbeds do not as a rule tremble with guilt and fear. Please let there not be too much blood, I thought. Let the bag catch it. Even better, let him cry off now, at the last minute. But he didn't. Perhaps he thought I'd hate him if he did, perhaps he had resigned her to heaven, perhaps he was remembering that obscene middle finger, poking a circle around her crotch. I don't know. I only know he whispered, "Goodbye, Mama," and drew the bag down over her head. She snorted and tried to twist away. I had meant to reach under the bag to do my business, but he had to push down tightly on it to hold her, and I couldn't. I saw her nose making a shape like a shark's fin in the burlap. I saw the look of panic dawning on his face, too, and knew he wouldn't hold on for long. I put one knee on the bed and one hand on her shoulder. Then I slashed through the burlap and the throat beneath. She screamed and began to thrash in earnest. Blood welled through the slit in the burlap. Her hands came up and beat the air. Henry stumbled away from the bed with a screech. I tried to hold her. She pulled at the gushing bag with her hands and I slashed at them, cutting 3 of her fingers to the bone. She shrieked again, a sound as thin and sharp as a sliver of ice, and the hand fell away to twitch on the counterpane. I slashed another bleeding slit in the burlap, and another, and another. Five cuts in all I made before she pushed me away with her unwounded hand and then tore the burlap sack up from her face. She couldn't get it all the way off her head, it caught in her hair, and so she wore it like a snood. I had cut her throat with the first 2 slashes, the first time deep enough to show the gristle of her windpipe. With the last 2 I had carved her cheek and her mouth, the latter so deeply that she wore a clown's grin. It stretched all the way to her ears and showed her teeth. She let loose a guttural, choked roar, the sound a lion might make at feeding time. Blood flew from her throat all the way to the foot of the counterpane. I remember thinking it looked like the wine when she held her glass up to the last of the daylight. She tried to get out of bed. I was first dumbfounded, then infuriated. She had been a trouble to me all the days of our marriage and was a trouble even now, at our bloody divorce. But what else should I have expected? "Oh, Papa, make her stop!" Henry shrieked. "Make her stop, oh Papa, for the love of God make her stop." I leapt on her like an ardent lover and drove her back down on her blood-drenched pillow. More harsh growls came from deep in her mangled throat. Her eyes rolled in their sockets, gushing tears. I wound my hand into her hair, yanked her head back, and cut her throat yet again. Then I tore the counterpane free from my side of the bed and wrapped it over her head, catching all but the first pulse from her jugular. My face had caught that spray, and hot blood now dripped from my chin, nose, and eyebrows. Behind me, Henry's shrieks ceased. I turned around and saw that God had taken pity on him, assuming he had not turned his face away when he saw what we were about, he had fainted. Her thrashings began to weaken. At last she lay still. But I remained on top of her, pressing down with the counterpane, now soaked with her blood. I reminded myself that she had never done anything easily. And I was right. After 30 seconds, the tinny mail-order clock counted them off. She gave another heave, this time bowing her back so strenuously that she almost threw me off. "Ride 'em, cowboy," I thought. Or perhaps I said it aloud. That I can't remember, God help me.